Welcome. Well, Happy New Year. Welcome to ComputerSmith. We're gonna work on a keyboard today. I don't know anything about keyboards, but this one is kind of not that great to type on because it's like 40 years old, so some of the keys are kind of mushy and hard and sticky. So I brought a friend here who knows about keyboards. Say hi to nearLucid. Keyboard.
Holy shit.
What do you think?
I think we can make it better.
I think so too.
Alright, so if you don't know who I am, my name is Kelvin, or nearLucid online. I ran a keyboard YouTube channel, which is now a more broad tech YouTube channel. And I'm here to help this guy fix up this keyboard. So our plan for today is we're going to desolder all the switches, we're going to lube them up, and maybe put some foam in there and see how it performs.
Whatever all that means. So to take this keyboard apart is pretty easy. There's just 6 Phillips head screws on the back. So you just start cranking them.
Can you give us some background on how you acquired this ancient relic of technology?
So I purchased this on eBay for, I want to say about $60, which is a pretty decent price for one of these. But the issue was the 7 and 8 keycaps were off, and it came with the 7, but I had to go buy the 8. But the problem was it has these really weird ALP switches, and they have like 2 lengths of switch cap or whatever you call this part. So, and this is one of the old switches, and you'll notice that this part here is broken off. There's supposed to be another part that's on top of that, and so both of these switches were broken off. So I had to replace those switches and then find a keycap for the 8 key, and that was how I got a discount on it, was by doing a little bit of repair work. I think even with parts, it was probably still cheaper to do it this way than to buy a regular used keyboard from eBay, because those go for about $120, I think. This is actually keyboard model number M0110A. So this is actually the keyboard that came with the Macintosh Plus, and the main difference is that it comes with the numeric keypad, because the original Macintosh keyboard did not come with a numeric keypad. And it also includes arrow keys, which the original Macintosh keyboard did not have, because they wanted to encourage people to use the mouse, since it was a new concept and people were used to using arrow keys to navigate through a command line. So it's very interesting, but they brought them back with this keyboard.
It's a very odd layout. We have basically 60% in this area with arrow keys and also with a number pad. So this is very rare even in custom keyboards today.
It's pretty whack, but I like typing on this keyboard, except for some of the keys kind of stick up sometimes, and so that's why we're leaving it today, so I can enjoy typing on it.
Yeah, hopefully we're gonna be able to change that today.
This keyboard has some very interesting tidbits with it. Like, for example, the cable that it connects with, it looks exactly like a telephone cable. That's because it is a telephone cable, but it's not a crossover cable. So what that means is that a normal telephone cable has 4 pins on this side and 4 pins on the other side, and the pin that's on the far left on this side actually comes out on the far right on this side. But on the cable that comes with these Macintosh keyboards, it's not a crossover, so the pin on the left goes to the pin on the left here. So if you try to use a telephone cable with this, it's not going to work at all. There's also this security slot here, so that you can secure it down. It's like a Kingston, whatever they call it.
Oh, what?
Security
I thought that was
lock.
like a mouse pass-through or something.
No, the mouse actually connects up with a D-sub serial connector. So once you have the 6 screws taken off, you can just lift up on this little plastic piece and set it aside, and the whole keyboard just comes out now.
What is going on here? We have a plate. This is like steel, and it's screwed into the PCB. Look at that. Look at that. If you can see the the Macintosh logo right there.
All those old Apple computers have, the Apple computer logo put in on the board somewhere.
This is back when we had Steve and Johnny.
And Johnny. Was Johnny there in 86?
Him and his aluminium.
So
let's take the keycaps off.
we got this thingy-majig here.
From Mode.
From
Not sponsored.
Mode. And I don't know how to use it, so that's all you. I've pulled the switches out from this before, namely, like I said earlier, the 7 and the 8. And the process is pretty easy. You'd probably be used to it. There's just 2 solder joints on the back to close the switch, and then you have to push these 2 tabs together with some tweezers or a switch puller, and it just pops out.
Yeah, none of that has changed in the 40 or 50 so years.
Yeah. As for our grease, we've got 2303 grease in this syringe, and then do we have anything else we want to use for this? Or just
we
this?
have 105 grade 0 in our spring box. I've been using this box to lube basically all of my switch springs throughout the entire course of nearLucid. So there is just like 105 grade 0 accumulated on all of the sides. So I didn't need to bring any here. We could just use the box itself. It's already greased up. Look at this key.
It's got the L-shaped. That's one of the things I miss about old keyboards is the ginormous L-shaped return key. See,
a spring here.
this is like a spring-loaded key, so it like locks whenever you click it.
You gotta give your raw keyboard a try.
A minimalist keyboard with no keycaps at all. You just have to touch type directly on the stems. I will say, if we do break any switches, I'm fine with sacrificing some numpad keys while I get new switches ordered. You can still buy switches for these. I think it's about $5 or $10 a pop per switch, so not cheap. But Apple Rescue of Denver does allow you to get new ones.
So now that the space bar is off, we can see what sort of monstrosity stabilizer they have going on here. It's actually very similar to some modern Razer and Corsair keyboards. They have really odd stabilizers where the stabilizer bar just kind of goes into this hole that's on this plastic piece.
There's a spring on the key itself. It's not a locking system like this one is. It's just there.
Gets banished to the spring box.
Bad springs go to the spring box. I'm very curious how this lock thing works, because there's no metal going into it. There's just some plastic tabs with this weird shape in it. I don't know how that works. It doesn't look very secure. I feel like I could just no matter if you have something that clips in there, I feel like I could just break the clips off. Because if you're gonna steal a keyboard, you're probably not concerned with if you're gonna break it or not.
And that's the last key. Raw keyboard.
Well, this is where the scary part begins. Now I have to start desoldering. And desoldering, especially with old pads like these, is always terrifying. Although I feel like if we rip a pad, I feel like putting in a bodge wire on this board wouldn't be as bad as my Mac Classic tooth. Okay, well I guess I'm just gonna kind of go in order. The method I always use for desoldering stuff is I put some fresh solder in there and then desolder it. We're bringing out the Hacko. We'll go ahead and put flux on everything just to save me some time later. I always hate the part of retro computer repair jobs when it comes to soldering, because I'm always like, oh, these boards are super old. There's 100% chance I'm gonna rip a pad. It's terrifying, and you're like, I'm not gonna get a replacement board for this.
I've never had to use flux before, so this is just the weirdest looking process of all time. He's just fucking oiling it up. He's just oiling it up.
I guess in a sense, I mean, if you were to try to use it as oil, you would be surprised to know it's quite sticky. It's kind of gross. But it's I think if I remember correctly, the job of flux is to help it bind itself to the pad. So if you're doing anything with soldering, you should be using flux. Scary.
Let me get those solder fused. Delicious.
Ugh, cancer speedrun. See, this really sucks because we have to keep the fans turned off in here so that the sound doesn't sound terrible. I'm getting cancer for you, so...
We're lucky if we're going to be alive by the end of this video.
Yep. Alright, those got some fresh little balls on them. Now we're gonna give him a good suck. Okay, that's that row taken care of. We should be able now to just like squeeze this. No, this is not. There's one.
Wow, one whole switch.
Number 1 doesn't want to come out just yet, so we're gonna have to work on that one. We got almost one row of them out. I think I need to do another passover on these ones here. Okay, so while I continue to get these out, he's gonna go ahead and start taking apart that.
How do you even open these?
So you have to so you go underneath here and kind of pry it and push to the right, like that, and then you do the same on the other side. And then you slide it apart with your fingers.
That is so odd. Every time I pull one side out, the other side snaps back in.
It's really annoying. You kind of have to finagle it. It's definitely a lot easier if you have like another lip in there to like keep it open. Well, on to the next one. I'm gonna go ahead and start doing this row here.
Oh yeah, these are about 10 times harder to work with compared to standard cherry style switches.
Yeah, the Alps SKCC. I'm getting hotboxed with flux fumes right now. It's bad. My finger hurts so bad.
I'm gonna get a hand cramp from this.
Oh, dude, look at that callus. Practice safe soldering iron. Don't do this. Don't do whatever it is I'm doing, because it's wrong. Do as I say, not as I do.
This is why I do software, because you don't injure yourself every 5 seconds.
You do want to do it while you do it, though. Because every time I write a C program, it makes me want to bash my head against a wall. And
Yeah, maybe you give yourself a brain injury instead.
Is...
Oh. Oh.
What?
Look at that.
Oh, no.
If you're not injuring yourself, you're injuring the hardware. Or your own mental state.
Or both.
Why not all three?
These two fuckers will not come out. What's your deal? This one seems like it's kind of like bent. I think that trace is torn. We can fix that. We can fix that. I can just scrape up some of the board. This one just won't come out, being such a dingus.
My name is Andrew Dingus.
Them folks at Apple Rescue of Denver who stock these Alp switches are probably watching this video right now like... Okay, I'm terrified to take out this caps lock one. What if we didn't lubricate it? What if we didn't need to touch it?
Oh, you can tell the key is sticky without even having it in the keyboard.
How's that? Ugh. Ugh. There's so many solder fumes. I'm gonna be so high by the end of this. We're smoking.
Screw Galaxy Gas.
This is literally Galaxy Gas right now. If you're young, if you're middle school age and you're watching this, don't get any ideas. If you do get the idea, you're gonna regret it severely because you won't get high at all, but you will be like, now my lungs smell bad or something. I don't know. I'm just like destroying like all the traces. Luckily this board is pretty simple, so ripping it back up and exposing the trace to solder should be somewhat easy.
I've almost caught up to you. You gotta speed up. He's crashing out.
Don't worry, your next batch is coming in.
What if I just pass out from solder fumes?
Give me more.
I'm trying. I'm breaking everything. See, so many of these, the pin is like bent to hell. And then every time I try to bend the pin back, the trace, there goes another one. This is supposed to be like satisfying content. We're just making gore at this point. There goes another trace.
This is like Live Leak, but for Apple hardware designers. Dude, you know why I feel like this Christmas has been the least Christmassy Christmas so far?
Why is that?
I did not hear Mariah Carey once.
Yeah, you're right.
Where did Mariah Carey
Holy
go?
shit, nobody unfroze
Where
her
did she
this
go?
year. Oh my god, I heard her like once. I saw more memes about her being unfrozen than I did actually hear that song.
I read somewhere that she makes $200,000 a year just off that song's royalties.
Jeez.
And I'm gonna need a fact check on that.
Here's another, speaking of which, here's a little fun fact. Before starting this channel, on my old channel, the most successful video that I ever made was, I recorded it in 2017. I was like, I think I was 13 at the time. and it was me screaming that song at the top of my lungs. That was it. That was the whole video. Was just me screaming.
I've respawned. What's the progress?
Just reflowed the number pads. Now I'm about to try to desolder it, take the switches out. Then it's the time to actually start lubing. I don't understand why this one won't come out because both the pins are really wiggly. Oh, there we go. Finally, only minor casualties. Okay, while he finishes taking those apart, I'm gonna go ahead and spray this board down. Get it with the alcohol.
Okay, we're done.
Yay. Okay, well my camera died and Kelvin had to go home, so it's just me now. But anyways, off camera I went ahead and sorted everything out. So I have the top shell and sliders all over here, and the bottom shells and the switch plates over here. All the keycaps are here, and I have all the springs in this tub here. Now Kelvin left me some instructions behind. He told me that what I need to do is basically just put it in here. There should already be enough lube in here. I can just shake it around and they should get lubricated. But I also went ahead and bought this 3203 grease, and I'm thinking what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put like a glob of it in here and shake it around with that. And then I also have to lubricate the sliders. So I'm gonna use this as sort of like whatever those little things that you mix the paints in are called. And I've got a paintbrush here, so I'm going to put some in there and mix it in there and put it on the sliders, and then I'll put some in here and shake it around. So I'm going to start with this, and then I'm going to use this as needed, and then if I have any left over, I'll put it on the springs. I don't know if it's possible to over-lubricate springs, but I guess there's only one way to find out. I don't think much will be needed. I'm just going to put a nice little that size in there. I'm going to fill this up. And that's going to be our starting point, and then I'll just use it as needed. And then the rest I'll put it in the container. Go ahead and give this a good shake here. I don't know about that. These ones are kind of just like sticking here. So I'm kind of just going to paint it around like this. We're going to need to use this brush for lube anyways, so it doesn't matter. Hopefully they're nice and greased now, I think. But we're going to set that aside and start probably one of the more tedious parts of this. Okay, so here's all the sliders here. Most of them, the switch plate came off and stayed in the bottom housing, but for like 9 or 10 of them, they stayed in here, so I've separated them out. But anyways, the goal is very simple. We're just going to take however many of these and keep it upside down and then just paint the sides of it like that. I guess I could also just like take it out. But yeah, let's just do that. Shouldn't need too much. And then yeah, we just do that like 50 times or so, and then put it back together after that. Right, I used a little bit less lube than I thought I would, but anyways, we just have these 9 switches left, and these ones have the switch blades still in them. So I'm gonna do it a little bit differently. I'm gonna just lube them in the shell like this, because these things are, I know from experience that these things are super sensitive, and I really don't want to pull them out because I really don't want to break these switches, and I'm already nervous enough as is, so I'm just gonna do it with them in the body, and hopefully all will be right in the world. If not, I guess we'll find out one way or the other. Okay, cool. That's all of the sliders or stems, whatever you want to call them, lubricated. And look at that. Not only both in the vial, but in the cap as well. We still have plenty of grease. Can I suck this back up? Is it like possible? Not really. Okay, well I don't want it to just go to waste, so as promised, I'm just gonna scoop it and dump it in here. And then we're just gonna kinda... greasy. Okay, well if these springs aren't lubricated now, I don't know if they'll ever be. So, I guess now's the time we're gonna put them back in, and then we're gonna have to start testing all of them, and that's gonna be the really scary part of all this. So I guess I have no choice but to get started. Process is simple. Just take one of these springs, pop them in there, and then take one of these and hope that the little legs will line up, and then just slide them on top as such, and there you go. Now you got a switch. Yeah, they sound a bit quieter. Now, for anyone following along at home, here's some things to be aware of. What you want to look out for is there's this little bump here on the slider, and that's what the spring actually goes into. So if I pull that out there, you can see that this kind of notches in there, like that. And then in addition to that, whenever you want to get this in here, this little plate is supposed to sit up here. So you kind of have to wiggle it into place, and then just snap it together. And then also in here, there's a little notch there that the spring's supposed to go into on the other end. So it's kind of hard to make sure that it's actually going in there, but be advised to that. The switches definitely seem quieter than they were before. It's kind of hard to gauge the sound of them without having a keycap on them and having them in the keyboard, but I'm excited to see the end result of this, provided that everything works, which, you know, fingers crossed. Alright, that's the last one. Okay, that's the assembly portion done. Now here comes the really stressful part. Testing. We got to see if they all work now. Okay, I already did a fair bit of testing off camera, and so far I only have one switch that works kind of finicky, and the rest all seem to work good. So that's good. Very worryingly, I found 2 extra springs in the lid of the thing, and I tested all the switches, and one of them seems like one of them definitely did not have a spring in it, so I replaced it. Now I'm down to 1 spring, but the rest of them all look like they have a working spring. That really confuses me. I think maybe I accidentally threw in the spring from my spare switches I have lying around, because I do have 2 spare switches, and I think I might have accidentally tossed one of the spare switches in there. But the rest of these all seem to press down fine, but we still need to test them to see if they actually work. And this is really easy to do. All a keyboard switch is, well, a switch. So when it gets pushed down, these 2 contacts close. So we can test that with the continuity meter, which just tests to see if the circuit is complete. So we touch these together. It beeps. We have a closed circuit. So all we have to do now is connect each one of these clips to one of the legs. And then as you can see, nothing happens. And then when I push the switch down, it should beep at us. That switch is good. And then just rinse and repeat for the rest of the switches. It's kind of finicky. I'm gonna go ahead and put this one in the take apart pile. Maybe we can just dust it out. Awesome. Looks like I got all the switches then. I was expecting a lot more to fail, so that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So now I guess it's just time to throw it back in the board and solder. So let's jump to that. Now hopefully the soldering process should be pretty easy because the switches have a clip on them, so when you put them in the keyboard it'll hold them in place, and then we can just solder them in. So let's just start inserting and hopefully everything works. butter them up some more. And you know what? Since we didn't do anything with the caps lock key, the least I can do is brush some grease in there. I don't know what good that's gonna do. Okay, good enough. Now comes the time to solder. I always hate soldering. Soldering is not like a fun thing. Soldering is like a thing you have to do to work on electronics. It's kind of like France. If you live in the UK, it's just a country that you have to drive through to get to Italy. That's all it's there for. I'm kidding, obviously. This should be decently easy. I went ahead and ripped up the traces off camera that were like faulty. So hopefully everything will just work. But I guess there's one way to find out. Let's just get after it and see what kind of damage we can do to it. Okay, we got all the main soldering done, but the ones where we ripped traces, they didn't hold as easy as I expected them to. So now we're gonna have to do a bodge wire, I think. And I don't know if I have any wire that'll work with this, but I mean, like, I can try. Like, worst comes to worst, I'll bend like a paper clip or something, and it'll work. Jeez, I sure hope that's making contact. I guess I'll never know, or I will know in approximately 5 minutes. This is so unbelievably annoying. Gotta have the precision of a f***ing brain surgeon to do this. It's pretty much what I am at this point. I'm like a brain surgeon, but for computers. That's probably good enough. So, like, this is not my proudest work, but, I mean, it has a chance of working. Let's plug it into the computer, and we'll start from there. And then we'll find out what needs to be fixed, I guess. Alright, let's do it. The layout here is a little bit confusing because this is supposed to be the like regular size Macintosh keyboard, and this is the Macintosh Plus keyboard. So the layout is a little bit different. As you can see, there's no arrow keys on here because the original Macintosh keyboard did not have arrow keys because they wanted to encourage people to use the mouse. But this one does have arrow keys, so it doesn't really know what to do with them. Everything looks like it works though. Yay! Okay, let's put these keycaps on, get it screwed back together, and call it a day. We're just gonna put on our giant spring here for the enter key. We also gotta flip up our stabilizer here. I think the big end goes on top. I'm honestly not sure. This is gonna be a nightmare and a half. I wonder if maybe it'd be easier to put it on the keycap and then try to put the stabilizer on. Let's see, this is a little tough. What about this? What if I put it on there? Hold the spring back with my finger. There. Sounds kind of crispy. As long as it functions. Boy, I've been waiting for this part. And with that, we conclude another episode of If It Ain't Broke, Don't Fix It. This keyboard sounds really good now, although it is kind of still a little bit firm to type on. I guess that's in the design of the Switch or whatever. I've noticed that sometimes it still does feel like it sticks whenever it types. Not like sticks, but it's still like kind of hard to push the keys. So I guess that's just the way the keyboard was designed, because this is as lubricated as it's gonna get. Either that or I put too much lubricant on. Who knows? But anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Actually, I have an announcement to make. God, I really hate that ComputerSmith guy. I just wish I could meet him so that I could beat him senseless. Well, today is your lucky day. Who said that? Now's your chance to meet the ComputerSmith at the Southwest Vintage Computer Festival 2025. That's right. From June 2nd to 22nd, I will be attending VCF Southwest. I'm very excited about this. I got myself an exhibitor table and I plan to show off some of my collection. Plus, you get the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to purchase some mystery Macintosh software written by yours truly and some friends. You can get your tickets online today at vcfsw.org. That's vcfsw.org. I hope to see you there. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video. This took a really long time to film, and that's entirely on me. We had the shooting day with Kelvin, and then our film batteries died, so he went home later, and now he's in California again, so I couldn't get him here to finish the video with me. And I've been putting off doing this for a long time for two reasons. For one, because this job is kind of daunting, so I was actually kind of scared of putting the keyboard back together, be like, oh, I'm gonna screw it up. So I'm glad that we were able to make it like work decently good. The other reason is because this room has terrible insulation, and it's been freezing here since it's January. Like the day that we started filming this video is like the first day that it was like freezing, and it's been freezing pretty much like almost every day since. With that all being said, once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you should consider leaving a like, and if you didn't, you should consider leaving a dislike. And I will see you next time I make a video, whenever that is. See ya!